welcome back. I'm Audrey Mituuta with Inspire Strong Fitness, here to bring you Nutrition 101.6. So we are building on last week's information, and if you haven't seen it yet, you can go ahead and scroll up, find it, and follow along with us because you have homework each week. Looks like I need to step back a touch. All right, so we ended off with a food journal challenge. So as usual, how did your homework go? So homework was to track 3 days in a very simplified food log, okay? Mine went pretty well for 2 days, and then my third day got a little spotty. I don't think I made it for dinner. So what went well for me was that it was eye-opening again, helping me to make sure I'm hitting my daily goal of veggies is 4 to 5. And as I was able to look back on my food log, I reviewed that and I did pretty well with that. However, with my mornings, as I looked back and through it, I saw that my breakfasts were missing really a sufficient amount of protein. I had like a little bit of protein, but I need to up my protein this week in my breakfast. I was getting a good fibrous carbohydrate with oatmeal, and the other day I had like some berries and yogurt. So my protein was better on the yogurt days, but the days that I was having oatmeal, I started to add in some flaxseed powder to increase the protein, and a little bit of chia seeds actually to increase the protein. So that's what I'm doing to help balance my breakfast. Dinners, overall I did pretty well with the 75% veggie, 25% protein that we've preached week after week. So, I feel pretty good about my dinners. The other thing I could probably improve on is that little type of sweet snack that seems to be there each day. Now, I don't consider myself like an over-the-top emotional eater, but I think we're all emotional eaters. And the more we can come to terms with that and realize that with food comes emotion, like always, it's a really good thing and a really healthy thing. So, I'm always for, like, as we're going to talk today, a little catchphrase of sweet, it's my treat. Have those treats, enjoy those treats. But if it is happening every day, like you're having a cookie every day or something like that, we need to find some healthy alternatives. So, one of the nights last week, he loves pie. That's my husband. He had like a chocolate satin pie that he, got out and shared with the family. So I ended up having pie kind of later at night, which I don't usually do. And I had that on one of these days that I tracked. And so the next day I was like, okay, typically if you don't eat after like 8 or 9 p.m., if you have had breakfast and you've had a good, if your calories are done for the day, don't add in another snack. And especially don't make it one that's full of sugar and fat, right? So pretty standard thought there. But what I did the next night, because I was hungry and a bit nauseous before going to bed, again, I'm a day away from 18 weeks pregnant right now. So it's kind of a fine line of listening to my body and eating healthy, right? So I listened to my body and I ate healthy. So the next night, instead of pie, and yes, Dee grabbed some pie, I got some plain yogurt with the frozen berries and kind of mixed all that up. So it turns it into almost like a frozen cheesecake is what it reminds me of. So that's what I did to do a healthy sweet snack on the second night. And then the third night, I think I fueled better during the day, so I wasn't nauseous when I was going to bed. And you never know. It's sometimes just the hormones and the levels of those hormones that make you nauseous when you're pregnant. But anyway, so that's how I looked back over my food journal. And the other piece of the puzzle that maybe you didn't track, but you can reflect on, how did hydration go? Make sure you're drinking enough. And the way that you can tell if you're drinking enough is if you don't need completely clear urine, but if your urine's really dark, you're really dehydrated. If it's, somewhere in the mix, then you're probably still dehydrated. But if it's on the clear end, then that's a really good hydration level. So about half of your body weight in ounces. I don't know what it is about this pregnancy, but I feel like I can't drink enough, and I'm probably drinking more than 100 ounces a day. And through the night too, I'll drink like another 16-ounce cup or bigger through the night. So I don't know, something weird going on there with me, but I just keep drinking and my body needs it right now. So definitely hydrate. That's a good motivator, right? Keep up with me. All right, so we're into week 6. Last week we talked about those main points of the program. Just like we've discussed so many times, water for the win, lead with the veggies. We really discussed a bit more of the scale as our sidekick, and then track it to lose it. And that's what the tracking was. So you can absolutely, usually I just leave it up to my clients on week 2. And I say, Kay, you did great on tracking those 3 days. Do you want to track 3 more again, or aim for 4 days, or what would you like to do? And most people will say, yeah, I'll do 3 days again. It really made me focus on what I was putting into my mouth. So you can absolutely continue that this week. I'm going to extend a different challenge at the end of our time together here. So let's get into it. So we did 1 through 4 last time. I'm going to start on point number 5. And my catchphrase for you is food full finished. This catchphrase has totally helped me, especially as a mom cleaning up the food. A lot of times it's easy to tack on 100, 200 more calories just when you're cleaning up and putting food away, just to like munch on little pieces of dinner. Does that make sense? Does that ever happen to you? Especially at Thanksgiving, right? You're packing up extra turkey and you have a little bit more. You pack up extra stuffing. That's just one example, but food full finish. So actually last night I went to dinner at my parents' and we had a great veggie selection, which was good. The ribs were awesome. I could have just kept eating those ribs. And as we were cleaning them up, and I actually was the dishwasher, and there were like some chunks left on the ribs plate, and this thought popped into my mind, and I just swooped them into the garbage because they were just like the little leftover pieces, I didn't need them. I was full. I was satisfied. I was kind of craving them, but I didn't need them. So I was already satisfied. So that food full finished is a nice catchphrase to just help you say, you know what? I'm done. That was excellent. That was a really good meal. I'm really grateful for it. Always adding gratitude, connecting your brain to food can be a really great way to remind yourself of, that was probably loud, to remind yourself that you are satiated and that was a good stopping point and that you're grateful for that. It adds that happy vibe to your meal. So food full finished, you're just going to finish eating and you don't need to nibble around. You don't necessarily need dessert. If you choose there to be a dessert on this particular day, great, finish that and then say food full finished. And try to cut out those evening snacks. A lot of people do cereal as kind of a stress relief. If you are doing that and you don't realize it's a stress relief, usually it's a stress relief. So I would just challenge you to baby step your way back from those late night snacks. Maybe it's chips, maybe it's cereal. I don't know what it is for you. But that is a common thing as you're unwinding on the couch and it's this mindless eating. But you're getting the happy hormones released as it enters your body. So what you can do to baby step back from that is maybe do half of a serving and then maybe just a couple. Or from there you take it like every other night or something like that. So do what works for you, but try to step back. And after dinner, this is like specifically with dinner. If you find yourself munching through the day, then yeah, incorporate this at whatever meals it makes sense to. But specifically with dinner, When it's done, it's done. Another great tip, if you a couple hours later are kind of used to munching and you're like, man, what can I eat? Like, I feel like I need to eat something. A really cool thing is try some different teas. It's warm, it's satiating, it's calorie-free, and it's hydrating for your body, obviously. And so tea is a really great option. Another thing I've pointed people towards that's really low calorie and still has a crunch to it are rice crackers, and they have flavored rice crackers that are pretty low in sugar. So that's a really good component as well. One of my favorite treats per se at nighttime, if I am like, okay, I really do need, my body needs some food right now, it's not just emotional, like I need something, is I'll do a banana, and there's something called PB2. So it's a peanut butter substitute, and it's a powder and you mix water with it. And so it gives you protein without quite the calorie density that regular peanut butter gives you. So if like your calories are done for the day, tossing in an extra fibrous fruit, right, with an extra little protein, that's really great and can serve your body well. But what is cool here that I do want to tap in, I wasn't going to, but I think I'll just chime in, is giving your body time to fast through the night. So about a 12-hour fast is a pretty good window there for your body. And even pushing it to 14 hours might be good for you. You can play with that number a little bit, see how your body responds. We don't want to overdo it and activate any hormone response that, specifically for females. If you do intermittent fasting, if you've heard that term before, sometimes it doesn't work out so well for females. So it's kind of like a 50-50 chance on that scale. So, but having this 12 to 14 hour fast for your body really helps with those digestive juices. It can help with insulin levels, and it can help stabilize those insulin levels. So there are really great benefits to having an empty gut while you're going to bed. So if you go to bed feeling hungry and you're not used to that, just know that it actually can be a good thing. And just wait till morning. You'll rise in the morning, you'll feel a little bit lighter, you'll probably feel pretty hungry, and it'll be time to go fuel your body. Okay? Cool. Moving on. That was a good chat. And of course, like always, you can post your questions below. Okay, this one I keep wanting to say, and I have said it. Sweet, it's my treat. I use this all the time in my brain. So what this, kind of block that off there. Sweet, it's my treat. This is when you're choosing to have that sweet treat. And some people don't have a sweet tooth. Maybe it's a salty tooth, but still, if you choose to have a bag of chips, that's a treat in and of itself, right? Something like that. So when you do decide, oh my gosh, I've got to stop hitting my laptop on that. When you do decide to incorporate some sort of treat into your diet, I want you to celebrate with it. I want you to feel good about it. I want it to be a guilt-free thing, okay? And that's the angle that we're going for to change your relationship. Maybe if I turn this, I won't bonk it so much. To change your relationship with food from potentially maybe a not so good one to a really positive one. And that's why I keep bringing up gratitude with your food. And now we're taking away that oh, I shouldn't have that, but I really want that chocolate, but I shouldn't have it, but I'm going to have it because I really want it. No, that's not what it's about. It's about finding that balance. And like I said, if it is daily that you're saying, sweet, it's my treat, we need to find some healthy alternatives in there to continue on your weight loss journey. But if it's just a couple times a week, or that 80% you're on target and 20% you're a little bit laxed with it, you're still gonna find amazing results. Again, we wanna get away from that black and white with nutrition. I'm on a diet, I'm dieting, I'm rocking it. 2 months later, you binge back. We don't want that. We're getting rid of all this yo-yo action. we're just honing right in with positive affiliation with food and a positive relationship there, okay? Delight in that decision. Have your treat, salty, savory, or sweet. Feel satisfied, enjoy it, and then move on with your life. We don't need to keep the cake in front of us and keep eating 2 or 3 or 4 slices. Have your 1 slice and move on. Yeah? I know sometimes easier said than done, but that's why we have all of these little tips and tricks to help you with that. Next up, number 7. There we go. All right. I'm not gonna lie, this like catchphrase is my favorite. I want you to become a water Globetrotter. That's funny, right? That's pretty good. So what that means is I want you to load up your hand with a water bottle, and specifically I'm talking about those parties where there's hors d'oeuvres and there's catering and maybe it's a potluck, something like that. Try to keep water in your hand, and you can even keep both hands on the water. Or what you're gonna find is if you are holding a drink, a lot of times, it constitutes like chips and a dip, and you need 2 hands. And so if one hand's occupied, you're probably gonna just grab better options for yourself or skip out on those highly caloric, low nutritionally dense foods. So these high fatty foods that aren't really gonna serve our body right. If you wanna have a little bit and that's your sweet, it's my treat, then that's your choice and that's awesome. Delight in it, feel good about it. Otherwise, if you keep water in your hands and your hands are occupied, it's just gonna help you stay on track at these social events, okay? Occupying your hands will decrease grazing and caloric consumption, keeping you on track to your goals. And that's what it all comes down to, right? We're going to delight in what we can have and not focus on what we can't have, but we can have water, and maybe you pack yourself a super yummy infused water that you're like, yes, this is totally gonna keep me sipping on it like all night. This is gonna be really yummy. And I'm not even gonna miss those other foods. And it's pretty surprising how as you hone in, you start to not even miss those fatty foods because you've recognized how they make you feel. You've recognized that a lot of the time you've got the scale bouncing back numbers to you that's like, oh yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was pretty good. I didn't super love it. So we're just making all these connections for our brain, keeping our hands busy to help us stay on track. Moving on. Number 8, this one is so important. So this one's kind of like a good technique, right? But number 8, this I use all the time. Clear the field. What the heck am I talking about there? Well, our senses trigger the neural pathways for craving food and salivary glands kicking in. It's like when you walk into your mom's house and she's baked cookies, you didn't even know you wanted a cookie, right? But suddenly you can smell it. And so that olfactory sense brought forth that neural pathway that's saying, hey, we've had those in the past. We really liked them. They were really good. You should go get us some cookies. Okay, so your nose can do it. If you hear the best example of this that's happened lately to me, I've gotten, I think I told you that my son super loves Takis. So I'll have just like a few. I really like just maybe 3 or 4 of them. And I've looked, I think the serving size is 12, maybe 16, somewhere in there. So I'm just getting a really low portion, just a little taste test every once in a while, right? But I can tell when they're eating chips or when they're eating Takis. And when I hear the crunch of that Taki, it seriously, I noticed it makes my mouth water. So, another thing is hearing, if you're like a candy bar person, that's not really my thing, but if you are and you hear that crinkling of a wrapper, that can trigger that same neural pathway that says, hey, we want that. Another thing is just grabbing it. So touch, right? You just grab the chips or the cookies for your kids or whatever it is. You're passing the popcorn past you at the theater and just holding it, and the popcorn gets your olfactory too. But it's triggering the same neural pathway that makes you want to eat it. So the one I'm specifically talking about is vision. So when you see something, and I know this has happened to you, 2 weeks ago, for Valentine's Day, my father-in-law brought over a whole box of these huge cookies called Batch. I'd never had them before. And then he bagged them up in a clear bag, and they were just sitting on my counter. And every time I walked into the kitchen, you better believe my brain was like, cookie, we want that. And I was like, sweet as my treat. Did I talk about those last week? I think so. They were so good. And I had it the one day, and then I took the bag because I knew it had owned me like all of Friday. And so I put it away in the pantry on a lower shelf so the kids could still get it, whatever. And it's not in my line of sight when I open the pantry. That's like a second tip. So it's down lower. I can't really see it right off the bat. And I definitely couldn't see it as I was walking into the kitchen. And I was able to just hold strong the next day. It was totally fine and not even that tempting. Like a couple times I caught a glimpse and I was like, no, not today. So clearing the field. I know you've been there, but just get it out of the line of sight. So I need a new marker. Line of sight. Tuck it away, put it away. Kids' treats, I think that's the most common thing I hear from people is like, oh, I have to get their fruit snacks out or whatever, and it gets the mom like, oh, I want to eat that. So what you can do is a sealed bin down below, and when it's time, if they're wanting a treat, you can tell them, hey, go grab one and show me what you grab, okay? And you can train them to have portion control, that they're independent, they can access it, no problem. And so it's good for both of you. Let's see. Yeah, just the out of sight, out of mind is totally what Clear the Field is all about. Number 9, this one's super important as well. And a harder one, this one takes effort. I call it finding your comfort corner. Okay, so with this comfort corner, what I want you to realize is it's kind of tough, but you got to catch yourself when you're eating with that negative mindset, or maybe it's been a stressful day, so you decide to go dig into your Oreo pack or something like that, okay? So sometimes that happens without us realizing it, and if that's the case, once you do realize, oh my gosh, I have really negative emotions happening right now, and I'm downing this pie, set your fork down, because again, we're wanting that positive relationship with food. So put it down, your bag of whatever, your fork or whatever, and step away for a second so you can reassess the situation. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is finding your comfort corner. I had a client who was eating like chocolate kisses and stuff like that at her office, just like they always had candy, like a chocolate candy bowl, and she'd just dig in there every day, which, as you know, that can easily add up. That could be 250 calories to 500 calories a day. If you're increasing your diet 500 calories a day, that's a pound a week, and that just keeps on tacking on, okay? So, finding this comfort corner means you step back and find something to decompress, per se, de-stress yourself. And it's different for every person. So I've had people with that particular client, she found that like the adult coloring books, if she just spend 5 to 7 minutes in that, and that's a really hard thing to do, right? To pull away from your work and go color. But there's so many studies that have just shared the amazing and positive response that has for your brain, for your stress levels, for your health. Okay, so maybe you want to try coloring or drawing. I've had clients catch themselves kind of in this negative cycle, and they say petting their dog has really helped. Just get down, pet their dog. And what's really cool, I'm actually doing a couples fitness boot camp right now. It's going to be up on my website, inspirestrongfitness.com, probably within the month. But some of the research that I've done with that touch, whether it's an animal or your spouse or your child or whatever, is the release of oxytocin, which is kind of that warm, feel-good hormone. So it gives us that sensation of just happiness and that warm and feeling loved. So I really like, after kind of doing the research behind that and understanding a little bit more about that interaction with the dog or walking their dog or something like that, how positive that can be. Another one is just take a walk around the block, get some endorphins, another happy hormone, right? We can do other things than food to get these happy hormones released, is the point. So these are just a few. You could read. I wouldn't recommend just like a zoned out screen time, but maybe if you have like Facebook or something like that you specifically want to check in on a friend or something like that, that would work. If somebody pops into your head and you're like, oh, I want to shoot them a message or send a text, that would be a really good way to get another release of some dopamine. But like kicking on the TV and trying to de-stress with the TV, I wouldn't really recommend. I don't think that does the full trick like we're going for. So hopefully we got some ideas. If you have some extra ideas or things that have worked for you in the past, I would love for you to drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Or email me, audrey@inspirestrongfitness.com. Oh my gosh, I hit my computer again. So far, I've gotten a couple emails through from people who've been watching these videos and having follow-up questions or whatever, and that's great. Keep on emailing me. I love hearing from you guys, of course. Let's see. The last one I'm going to do today. What's our time? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish. We'll see. So number 10 is opening up what I like to call the brag table. You have got to celebrate. That's why it's part of our reflection. I always want you to toot your own horn and tell someone about it. So brag table, specifically tracking these as you're getting started is going to be so huge, and it's going to help you so much. So I want you to, and this is actually going to be our homework this week, is write down 3 things you're proud of. Each day. So almost like a gratitude journal, but this time we're not focusing on gratitude. We're focusing on how much you rocked it. And they could be really little things. It could be, you took your kids to get Happy Meals and they had fries left over and you threw away the fries. That's awesome. Or it could be that you took your kids to get a Happy Meal and you didn't order anything and you usually do. That's awesome. Or with McDonald's, since we're on the McDonald's, I have gotten their grilled chicken sandwich, taken the bun off the top, or just actually I asked them for a lettuce wrap and it worked out well there. So a little win like that would totally be something you could track. You could also track, I set my step goal of such and such steps for the day and I hit it today. I'm so proud of myself. And, connecting your small wins, again, with brain, with your actions, we're going to continue to drive into your subconscious and eventually that unconscious thought that's deep inside you to help you identify with being a healthy eater, being an athlete. I don't care how old you are. I aim to be an athlete at age 80. And what that means to me is I'm moving my body. I'm trying to fuel it right the best I can. And I'm here to stay. I'm here to keep moving. Okay? So just bring that positivity into your daily life. Bring that positivity in with your actions and focus on the wins. Okay? Awesome. I am going to save. Oh, man, we're just so close. Okay, I got 2 minutes. I'm going to finish it. We're going to do it. Number 11. That's right, last bite. Kind of a funny one, but this can really be empowering for your brain. If you're someone whose parents really told them, finish your full plate of food, finish it all, or it's you can't leave the table, okay? It's been ingrained in your brain maybe for 40 or 50 years. So what I want you to do is, if that's you and you end up finishing your plate and maybe other people's plates too, because it just feels wrong, is you're gonna leave one bite on your fork and you're gonna leave that fork on your plate and you're just gonna show it who's boss. That bite does not control you. You control what you put into your body. And that can be a really hard thing, especially when the meal is really yummy, right? That would have been hard for me to leave a bite of ribs on my plate last night. I mean, it was cleaned off. So if that's something that rings true to your heart, I want you to maybe tack that onto your challenge this week. And really pick one of these. So this one is your challenge, number 10, but maybe pick one or two others this week to hone in on, okay? And you can write it and stick it on your fridge. Weight to plate. This one's a really great tip for your travels, or if you do buy like your favorite treat at the store or whatever. Some amazing research studies I have seen have been specifically with like buying your treat at the store. Don't open it up right when you get into the car and eat it right away. There's a couple things that happen biologically with training your brain for that instant gratification and that you just want to stay away from. But what you can do is wait till you get home, unload the groceries, and the more delay that you put behind these sweet it's my treat things, actually the more happiness and gratification you get when it is time to eat. So, and that's been in a series of different research studies, which is pretty cool. So by pushing it to a later day and time, and you're delaying that gratification, it will increase your happiness and empower you. You're going to be showing your brain that you are in charge, just like that's right, last bite, like in your face. Weight to plate is going to empower you and help you connect that with your brain, that you're in charge. It's not that chocolate bar that's in the back seat. You're the one driving this train, right? So how this ties in with travel, my best example of this is when I went to Italy, and I absolutely knew I was going to be having pasta. I knew I was going to be having pizza. I knew I was going to be having gelato. I could have had it all every day, right? But instead, I was like, okay, today I'm going to have pizza. And tomorrow's when we're going to stop for gelato. And the next day is when I'm going to try that pasta that everybody tells me. And kind of space it out. And you can actually feel the excitement build. Like, we didn't get gelato, I think, our first day, but we did get it the second day. And I was so excited for it. And it was so yummy. And it was really empowering. So that gives you a little thought for, if you're going to travel and you're like, okay, I am so going to do like the all-you-can-eat crab. That sounds amazing. And, pack it towards day 3 or day 4 of your 7-day trip. So you're having a little bit delay in the gratification. And when the time comes, you're going to be so excited for it. Okay. All right. I hope these tips help you. Again, we're going to focus on number 10, Write down 3 things, and this is daily. I'm doing it with you. And then pick 1 more or 2 more on this list of 12 you can pull from last week too that you really want to hone in on. Okay? Make it a good week, and I'll see you next time.